Everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 67 of our WWE 2021 Save and TEW 2020. This is Survivor Series 2021, and we have a lot to get to on this episode. This is going to be probably our longest lengthwise episode to date. Easily the most segments I put into any particular show that we've done thus far, and that's 50 plus probably at this point. So a lot of segments here in this one because it is Survivor Series and we've got a lot of multi-person matches. And so for some of these, just up front, I have tied in some different storylines that will, as I always do, I'll kind of play them out in different segments before you actually get the match result. But for others, we just don't have enough time to do everything. And so certain eliminations you will see in specific, we'll kind of spell them out, and like I said, using angles and such before the match result. But others we will bring up in future storylines. So we will get to some of those in the coming Raws and SmackDowns and kind of mentioning how certain people were eliminated. But we just don't have a chance to get to all that in this particular episode. I know that's not ideal, but there's just so much to cram in. And we only have, I think, 9 or 10 matches? But there's just so many different things we have to get to on this episode. So let's jump in. We don't even have a pre-show match. First time I've ever not had a pre-show match. We don't have enough time for that. We don't. So here we go. Survivor Series. We start off. Paul Heyman arrives. And Pat McAfee always around trying to find the next big scoop. McAfee goes up to Heyman, and Heyman is in a very angry mood. Of course, he took the rock bottom on the go-home episode of SmackDown, and Heyman arrives. McAfee says, hey, I'm not here to cause any trouble. I just want to talk to Roman Reigns. Where is Roman Reigns? And Heyman, not pleased with this because he wants nothing to do with anything right now. And Heyman tells him that Roman Reigns is exactly where he needs to be right now, and that all their focus is not on talking to Pat McAfee. Their focus is on The Rock, who Heyman says, by the way, is not the great one. We've said this. Roman Reigns is the great one. And Heyman kind of leaves with a very interesting statement in that Roman Reigns is not facing The Rock tonight. Roman Reigns is facing Dwayne Johnson. And Heyman says there's a big difference. He says The Rock was done years ago. He said Dwayne Johnson decided he's going to step into the ring with Roman Reigns tonight. And Heyman says, you're going to see Pat McAfee, everyone else, you're all going to see why that was a big mistake. And so Heyman walks away, clearly not in a good mood after taking the rock bottom. But there is Paul Heyman talking about, how everything is kind of played out here with Roman Reigns and The Rock, and saying that it's not going to be The Rock in that ring. It's going to be Dwayne Johnson. And Heyman says there's a big difference. So there you go. That starts off there. But as Paul Heyman walks away, Pat McAfee is holding his ear because McAfee says, hold on, what's going on? What's happening? And all of a sudden, we see the cameras rush out to the parking lot, and it's because Rated RKO and the Bullet Club are out in the parking lot, and they are attacking Daniel Bryan, who is down and out. Clearly, we're just seeing the final end of this attack. We don't see exactly what happens, but we're seeing the final sequence here where Bryan is just a mess. He's laid out. He's holding his ribs. So clearly, he's been beaten down. And you've got the Bullet Club holding their chairs, so who knows what happened. But Bryan really holding the ribs. He is just very favoring the ribs. Could have broken ribs. We don't know. But he is down and out. And we get a 76 here for this one. But as we know, we're using the script thing here, but this is kind of, I think they were based on entertainment and those kind of things. So that's why you're seeing that part of it. But so you have these 5 who are going to be teaming up in our big 10-man tag on Raw. They just destroy Daniel Bryan in the parking lot. Well, what is that going to mean for our big match, the 10-man tag? What's going to happen here? You will find out soon enough. But that is kind of the lead up here. And so we see these guys kind of scurry away. Daniel Bryan is down and out. And that is quite a start here. So what's going to happen? We'll get to that in just a bit. So here we go. Our first match on the card. It is going to be for the Intercontinental Championship. Keith Lee defending against Samoa Joe. And in a 65, which, like I said, honestly, guys, I'm not that surprised here because these are just kind of guys who are hovering in that 60s range. It is Keith Lee getting the win over Samoa Joe, 12-12. The Spirit Bomb does it. Kind of a big sprint here we had, and that is Keith Lee's fourth successful Intercontinental Championship defense since winning the title, really when he first stepped on to SmackDown. So a very big win here for Keith Lee, and if you want to look at how we booked this, we did go regular here because I think something to remember is that Samoa Joe, we've looked at it many times. Like, he's got the physical decline, all those kind of things. So we're kind of having an interesting time deciding what to do with Samoa Joe, although I know where he's going next. I just didn't feel like it was the right time to put the title on him here right now. So Keith Lee's doing great. His popularity's growing, and just thought this was the best way to do it. Just have a straight-up wrestling match between Keith Lee and Samoa Joe. We built this up over a little while, but Keith Lee gets the win here. He is still your Intercontinental Champion, and we will have certainly more to come for both of these two as we move forward on SmackDown. But a 65, I don't want to say it's disappointing because I'm not shocked at all. I kind of figured this is where it would wind up just based on the lack of popularity for both, coming from NXT. So there is our first match on the card. And then it is Pat McAfee backstage. Pat's everywhere. And Pat is caught up with Sasha Banks because coming up next, we got our big 8-woman tag, one of them we're going to have on this show. And Sasha Banks, McAfee wants to know, what do you think? What are your guesses? Who are you going to be teaming with? Who's your partner? Who's your opponent? All this, like, he wants to know it all. And Sasha says that she kind of has a hint of who this is going to be, and Pat's kind of caught off guard. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean you have a hint? There's been no hints given. Like, how do you know who this is going to be? And Sasha says she just has a hint that she knows exactly who's going to come walking through that aisle here in just a minute to team with her and then ultimately face her in the first round of the Mae Young Classic. So Sasha seemingly knows who this is going to be. Let's find out if it's who Sasha thought it was going to be. 73 here, so we're off to a solid start. A lot of these segments, by the way, they're all going to get limited for being short. I can just tell you right now because we have so many segments on this thing. They're all, for the most part, except for maybe a couple, they're all going to get hit for, being short. So they're not going to reach the rating we think they should be able to reach. So I will say that's something that I'm expecting here. So usually we get those really hot ratings on Raw and SmackDown, but it's because we have a lot less segments. On this show, we got so much to cram in. Some of these just had to be really short. So we're going to get hit with a lot of that, and the segments are not going to do as well as they usually do. I know that up front. So here we go. It is time for the announcement. Who is Sasha Banks going to team with here in our 8-woman tag? Who's going to be on the group with Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks? And who is going to be the first round opponent for Sasha Banks in the Mae Young Classic? It is Lita, as Mick Foley comes out and reveals Lita as Sasha Banks' opponent for the Mae Young Classic. And she's obviously going to team with Banks, Belair, and Lynch coming up next. But it is worth noting here that Sasha Banks looks a little puzzled. So perhaps Sasha Banks was not expecting Lita as the opponent for the Mae Young Classic. Now that leads to the next question, right? Who was Sasha Banks thinking it was going to be? We'll get to that in the near future, but not tonight at Survivor Series, because tonight we've got more to go off of here, and now we know that Lita's going to be teaming up. Quite a team. Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, and Lita. That's a squad right there. But this is going to be kind of the bigger storyline in play here, is that Banks is sort of surprised because, again, clearly she sort of thought she knew who it was going to be, but she didn't think it was going to be Lita. So we do get Lita with a Rebel gimmick here. Initial rating of great, so that's good to know. And here we go. Now into our big 8-woman tag. Just mentioned those four taking on Charlotte Flair and the Mean Girls, Alexa Bliss, Raquel Gonzalez, and Dakota Kai. Here we go. And in a 63, which, again, with all parties involved, I was not expecting a classic here. It is the team of Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, and Lita getting the win over Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Raquel Gonzalez, and Dakota Kai. By the way, as I've said, you have to ignore the eliminations because there's nothing I can do about those. So that just, you have to ignore that. You just have to listen to me on this part and understand that I'm not choosing any of this. So this is one of those things where I just think we have to accept what it says on the screen, but you just kind of have to ignore it. So here's how it played out. I will give you a little bit of insight into this one. But we kind of look at this here, and Becky clearly head and shoulders above everyone else. So what we're playing up here is that it's essentially a clean sweep for this team here because, you kind of have everything play out. Charlotte, as you would expect, what does Charlotte do in this match? She walks out. She doesn't care. She only cares about herself, right? She finds herself in a predicament against Becky Lynch, so Charlotte Flair just walks out of this thing. She wants no part of it. So she's gone. And so basically the story we're pushing here is towards the end, you kind of have Sasha Banks and Lita trying to one-up each other. So they're trying to, show off their skills, and you kind of have both of them taking some big risks towards the end of this match for them to be able to come out with the victory. And so that's kind of what we're pushing from a story standpoint here. But there's another aspect to this. So the one story is Charlotte walks out. Another story is that we've got Sasha and Lita trying to one-up each other. The other storyline is, at one point, the reason why Raquel Gonzalez gets put out of this match is because she just attacks Bianca Belair on the outside, just brutally attacks her, starts throwing her, into the guardrail and all this stuff on the outside, and so that gets Raquel Gonzalez disqualified. So Raquel not actually pinned here. She just kind of takes out Bianca Belair. So in a sense, that's going to help Dakota Kai because remember, Dakota Kai, first round opponent, Bianca Belair. So it's Raquel taking out Bianca, so we will kind of tie that into some stories moving forward, but that is kind of the foundation of what this match was, and I promise you we're not going to go into this big long spiel on every single match because some of these matches are going to be very straightforward, but this is one where we did want to kind of tie together several storylines. Charlotte walking out, Raquel beating up Bianca Belair, getting disqualified, and Sasha and Lita kind of one-upping each other. But it's the good team here with these four gets the win. And I think if we look at the notes here, Lita gets a 48 performance. That probably drugged this down a little bit. Alexa off her game as well. Charlotte still in poor form. I mentioned this in the comments. What the issue is with Charlotte is she is in a funk, which I noted. I think it was my comment to Ben, was that I think it's, 6 months to 2 years possibly when you're hit with this attribute. So Charlotte, hopefully it's not going to be 2 years because I would like her to get out of that soon because it's really hurting some of our segments with her. Lita also penalized for being rusty here, no surprise, declining physical ability. But look, for a one-off match, this is kind of the direction we're going to go in, and as I sort of teased earlier, it's going to play part of a bigger story with this. So there is your victors there in that one. And now, it is Penta versus Rey Mysterio. Penta gets the win over Rey Mysterio. 69 overall, nice rating. So they have great chemistry. Now remember, we were worried about this one, right? Because we were a little concerned because Rey Mysterio and Phoenix did not have any chemistry. It was a very disappointing match, but we get good chemistry out of this, and I think a 69 is about as good as you could have hoped for here because Rey's overness, probably low 70s at this point, maybe upper 60s. Penta still low 60s, upper 50s, so probably about as good as expected. But the bigger story here is what? You see it on the screen. Penta gets the win over Rey after botched interference from Dominic. What the hell is Dominic doing? He cost his father the match here. And so that probably gets your mind working a little bit. What's that going to mean moving forward? But that is the story here. The Penta gets the win over Rey. We built up the legacy, all the importance of the Mysterio name and everything. And what happens? Dominic costs Rey it all. And so this was a big match for Rey. And what do you know? It's actually his own son that winds up trying to help, but in turn, he actually costs him the match. So, as you can probably guess, we're going to head somewhere with that. But that is how this plays out. So, Penta with a big win here, but I like having the chemistry because we did not have that with Rey and Rey. So, we do get it with Penta and Rey. So, there you go. 69 overall. I'll take this from this particular match. So, there's your victor, Penta. And then, here we go. We are leading into the SmackDown 10-man tag, which we're going to have coming up here in a second. And so this is going to be part of that match, all right? Remember, you got to play along with me here. So we're getting ready to start the 10-man tag. John Cena, Damian Priest, Enigma, and Shinsuke Nakamura taking on The Miz, Sami Zayn, the Usos, and Apollo Crews. Well, right off the bat, we get some arguing because the Usos, they're teaming up here. All of a sudden, we just get some tension between these two. There's tension building between the Usos. Now, we know kind of what can be at play here is because of what happened on the Go Home edition of SmackDown, where they just get berated by Roman Reigns. A lot of tension right now. And all of a sudden, they just start arguing. And rather than just, going along about their business, Jay's not having it. He's not happy. He's pissed off. He's tired of all this mess. Everything's in his head right now. Like, he's getting yelled at by Reigns. He's got Jimmy arguing with him. Jay's had enough. So Jay just walks out. He's walking out of the match. He's done here. And so that leads to Jimmy starting to chase him. And you've got these two that are getting ready to just haul off on each other as they're going behind the curtain here. So they're going to the back. These two are arguing, getting up in each other's faces. You've got a little shoving back and forth. So that takes the Usos out of the match. So they're done here. So it's basically 5-on-3 with what we have left. And that's going to lead to the next sequence, which is going to be... if you guys are ready for this. John Cena, we get to the final sequence here of the match, all right? We're down to 4 guys, all right? We're down to John Cena and Damian Priest against The Miz and Sami Zayn. Well, Cena hits the AA to eliminate The Miz, but once Miz kind of comes to, you've got Cena and Priest against Zayn. Zayn's all alone. Miz holds John Cena's leg. So Cena's coming off the rope, going to do a little Irish whip, bouncing off the rope. And all of a sudden, we see Miz come up after being down and out from the AA, grab Cena's leg, and what does that lead to? None other than you have sneaking up from behind after the Miz holds John Cena's leg. It is Sami Zayn who has come up from behind him. Sami Zayn rolls up John Cena, grabs the tights, and Sami Zayn pins John Cena 1, 2, 3 to eliminate John Cena in this match. Damian Priest on the outside takes out The Miz, but he's done it, folks. He has done it. He has said it all along. He beat John Cena. He's finally done it. Sami Zayn has beat John Cena. And let's see if it turns into a victory for Sami Zayn. We're down to Sami Zayn and Damian Priest, and it does not. Oh, no, we've got an injury, too. As Damian Priest gets the win over Sami Zayn. So Zayn is all excited after rolling up John Cena. He eliminates Cena, just the biggest luck pin ever. And Damian Priest comes up from behind. Boom, that'll do it. And Priest pins Sami Zayn to get the victory here. So the winning team, John Cena, Damian Priest, Jeff Hardy, Ricochet, and Shinsuke Nakamura. But as we had some fun with, you had some stuff mixed in here as the Usos are at each other's throats. Sami Zayn gets the improbable pin on John Cena, but in the end, it is Damian Priest who watches Sami Zayn turn right around into him. And after celebrating for Sami, all he gets is a loss to Damian Priest. And so Priest is your winner yet again. And boy, Damian Priest has been on a tear here recently. He gets the pin at No Mercy in the tag team match with The Rock. And now he gets the pin here in the big 10-man tag on the SmackDown side. So big one there. John Cena above everyone else. 62. Again, I'm not surprised by this. We'll address the Jeff Hardy injury in a second. Jay's off his game. Jeff's off his game. Cena looks excellent. All right, but now we know that Jeff Hardy has a bruised pectoral muscle. My guess is a bruise cannot keep him out very long. So I'm not that concerned about this injury here for Jeff. But really, I mean, this was not going to be a great match because, again, I think probably Ricochet is probably the one holding everything down here. Let's just be honest. Although he had a 55. He was not that bad. And everyone hates him. So we understand in this save. So maybe just the fact that everyone does not like Ricochet held this rating down. But nonetheless, a big win for the John Cena team with Damian Priest getting the victory over Sami Zayn. And yeah, what a match here with how everything played out. But oh, Sami has done it again. He's finally done it. He told everyone you talk about a button. A button's not going to be big enough now for Sami Zayn to celebrate getting a pinfall on John Cena. And by the way, you know why I did this. If you remember back at No Mercy, I wanted to do Sami Zayn pinning John Cena with the help from The Miz, but as we said, Cena would not take the fall. So I kind of had to have some creative freedom with this and just kind of play this into the storyline, even though we know there's really no way I can add that in. We are playing that up storyline-wise. Zayn gets the pin on Cena here in this one. So Sami finally gets the much-deserved pin on John Cena. 62 overall, not a great match, but that's what I expect from these multi-man tags. So there you go. A lot of storyline directions to come coming out of this one, including this one right here with the Usos. All right, I appreciate it, Bruce. Yeah, Jeff's got a bruised pectoral. He should be fine. All right, and then after the match, we get to the back, and the Usos are about to come to blows. We got fists about to fly between these two. Here comes an angry Paul Heyman. He's still angry because he took that rock bottom. He's not happy. All right, Paul Heyman comes in, and he brings up to the Usos like he just goes off. Like we've seen Roman Reigns go off. We haven't seen Paul Heyman go off like this in a long time. All right, Heyman just goes off on the Usos and starts telling them the importance of the family. This isn't about them tonight. It's about the family. And he says that's all that matters. And he tells them that Roman Reigns could have thrown them out on SmackDown. He could have been completely done with them. But he didn't. And Heyman tells him to think about that. He could have completely destroyed both of them. But all he did was tell him to stay away from the ring during the main event. That's all Roman Reigns said. He said, Heyman said, you may not like how he said it, but that's all he said. He could have been done with both of you. And Jay is still not happy. Jay's not happy about any of this because Jay says he will not be accused of going against the Bloodline and being in cahoots with The Rock. He will not be accused of this. Jay walks off. Jimmy's still there, and Heyman just sort of staring intently at Jay walking off. He's staring at Jimmy. Everyone's frustrated. So the Bloodline is just total frustration mode right now with everything that's going on. We get a 72 here. So there is more to come on this. But yes, so we've just got frustration with the Usos. Heyman's trying to bring everyone together. How's this going to play out? We will find out. All right, coming up next. Oh, it didn't do it, folks. We tried. We knew it wasn't going to happen, but we at least gave it a shot. Kevin Owens and Chad Gable, the rematch, the long-awaited rematch. It's only been a couple weeks. Owens gets the win over Gable, 14-21. The pop-up powerbomb does it. 11th title defense of the United States Championship for Kevin Owens. We get the crowd buzzing here. Owens with an 88 in-ring performance. Fantastic stuff. 79, so it doesn't hit our 87 that we got previously with these two, but still, all things considered, I will take this at a 79. I think it's very good. We did do Steal the Show. We wanted them to pretty much go all out here to try to make this as good as possible. And yeah, I mean, I think that, look, we were not expecting it to be the same. We knew the rematch wasn't going to be as good as the original, but almost getting an 80, I'm fine with that. I'll take it. But it is worth noting we didn't have any storyline angle room. We had 0 minutes to be able to pull this off. After the match, Gable is frustrated. He's not happy. He's just sitting there holding his head in his hands, basically. And it is worth noting that Kevin Owens walks over after the match and just gives Gable a pat on the back before leaving the ring. So Gable frustrated. We've seen, for some reason, people get frustrated when they lose to Kevin Owens. We've seen that before with other people, right? AJ Styles, and that kind of led to a transformation. Will the same happen with Chad Gable? We will find out. But Gable's not happy knowing this was his shot, but it's Owens, yet again, successful defending the United States Championship, and so a 79 here. I'm not going to be disappointed because I knew it wasn't going to get 87 again. I just knew it couldn't happen. But clearly these two work really well together, and props to both for pulling this off for another quality match here with this one. All right, and then here we go. We are getting ready for the big Raw 10-man tag. Austin is backstage. All of a sudden, we've got everybody around Bryan now. Bryan is hurt, and we've got his teammates coming in. The Street Profits, Cesaro, Sheamus. Austin comes in, and Bryan he's clearly hurt here. And Austin wants the medical team to look at Bryan. He doesn't know if Bryan should go out there. He doesn't want him risking his career here. Bryan refuses. He says, I don't think so. I've been building to this for months now. This has been eating at me to finally go out there and get my revenge on, these bastards here. R-rated RKO, Bullet Club, like everyone. He wants his revenge. He's not pulling out of this match. No way. And Austin's not necessarily thrilled about it, but Bryan says, look, it's my ribs. It's just my ribs. They're broken. I know they are, but I don't care. It's worth going out there. I don't care what I have to do. I have to get the better of those guys on the other side tonight. And so Bryan says he's not pulling out, and here we go. So that's kind of, your setup. If you thought Daniel Bryan was getting removed from the match, he's not, because he is going to stay in there in this one. So 74, not bad here. We get a lot of, poor script notes and all that, and this would have did higher had we made it longer. But as I said, all of our segments are probably going to hit the 70s, because some of them would normally hit 80s because we make them longer. Not happening in this one. We don't have enough time to get to that. So there you go. And now, here we go. We are going to lead into this big match, seeming like, Rated RKO and the Bullet Club on the same page. We saw the cohesion earlier when they attacked Daniel Bryan. And now, are we actually going to get that here in this match? Let's go. And so, here we have early on in the match, Edge and AJ Styles working together on the same page here. And what happens? Daniel Bryan is trying. He's trying to fight through this. He's trying to fight through everything. And again, we'll get to how the all eliminations happen, okay? But we're down to Edge and AJ Styles against Daniel Bryan and Montez Ford. Those are our final four here. The two on each side. That's what we work to. We'll talk about the other stuff in future episodes in terms of how everything played out. Because I know you're going to want to know, how does Adam Cole, how does Finn Balor, how does Cesaro, how does Sheamus? We'll get to that in the next episode, because that's going to play into a storyline. But we're down to Edge and Styles against Daniel Bryan and Montez Ford. Edge and Styles put Daniel Bryan through the table. He's gutted it out through all this, okay? Like, he's really tried to make this work, all right? He's got these bruised ribs, and he's maybe broken. We don't know. But he's stayed in this thing, all right? And he's fought his way to try to make it to this point. But finally, with Ford down, these two guys take advantage. And on the same page here, Edge and Styles, they put Daniel Bryan through the table. Bryan tries valiantly to make it back in before he gets counted out. He cannot do it here. And a nice rating, 69 overall. Like I said, this would be much better if this was longer. I guarantee you we got hit for being short on this one. Yeah. So, so he's out. So we're down to Edge and AJ Styles against Montez Ford. Boy, not looking good here for Daniel Bryan's team, as that's what we're left to. And Bryan is helped up, so you've got some referees coming out. They're helping Daniel Bryan to the back, and he starts to make his way down the aisle here. So he's started to head to the back, and that is pretty much leaves Edge and AJ Styles. They're just looking at each other, all smiles, and everything is going grand, right? Well, Styles goes over, hits the Styles Clash on Ford after a little back and forth here. And then, all of a sudden, it is Edge. After AJ Styles hits the Styles Clash on Ford, Edge spears AJ Styles. And Styles rolls to the outside and he gets counted out. So he's out of the match here as well. So Edge has now turned on AJ Styles. Edge with just a big grin. He's smiling from ear to ear, as if, why did AJ Styles, who came in, the first thing he does when he comes back with his rejuvenated Bullet Club, he attacks Edge. Why would he ever think that Edge was going to forgive him for that? And it is Edge who sort of gets the upper hand here, reminding everyone he's still the WWE champion, all right? And so Edge spears Styles to get him counted out. So we're down to Edge and Montez Ford. They're the final two here. And then Styles, while Edge is just kind of mocking Styles on the outside, here comes Daniel Bryan, who is, barely gets into the back here, all right? He's helped out by the referees, but Bryan is not taking that. He is not going out this way. Here comes Daniel Bryan, who comes rushing back to the ring. Now, rushing is putting it lightly, because we know that he's probably not running too fast. He's clearly got the ribs are all messed up at this point. Bryan comes back. Ford is down after the Styles Clash. Bryan makes his way into the ring, and Bryan hits the running knees to Edge to take Edge out. Edge is down. Bryan goes over. He taps Montez Ford. He gets him up, and all of a sudden, Montez Ford goes to the top rope, and Ford hits the splash to one of the biggest pops you will hear because everyone knows what's coming at this point. Montez Ford hits the splash on Edge, and that leads to your winners. The team of Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, Sheamus, Angelo Dawkins, and the guy who gets the pinfall on the WWE champion, Montez Ford, gets the pin in this match with some assistance from the guy who was taken out from the very start of this show, not really given a chance to be able to go the distance here because of these serious injuries he suffered. Bryan comes back, though, to make sure he gets his vengeance on Edge for what has just happened, and it is Montez Ford walking out as the final combatant here. He is the sole survivor left. There you go. So, I know that's probably going to surprise a lot of people. You're thinking about this match, and you're wondering all the different directions this could go in. As always, keep in mind this is part of a much bigger story, but when you really think about everything we built to this point, look, this looks like the unbeatable team, right? But you've always kind of known that there has been tension here from the very start because remember, even though these have kind of teased, we had the Edge handshake, all that on the go-home edition of Raw, that was for a reason, to make you finally think, all right, they are on the same page here. Maybe they can finally work together. But when it comes to it, Edge, the WWE champion who got here by nefarious means of realigning himself with Randy Orton and surprising everyone, he does it again, but yet this time around, it's Daniel Bryan, who Edge got the better of at SummerSlam with the cash-in, the surprising everyone. It's Bryan who sort of gets a little bit of payback here by allowing, some shine for Montez Ford to pin Edge. And so now, what does that mean, right? You know what that means, and you will find out on Raw what the next steps are going to be with all of this because there is a lot of stuff coming out of this match. And again, some of it we haven't even gotten to yet. You're going to see what's going to happen with Cole and Balor, Cesaro, Sheamus. I know we didn't mention them a whole lot in this match, but I don't want to make this too long. So you will see what happens here. But the biggest point coming out of this is we tried to sort of make this the Dolph Ziggler, if you remember, like 2014 Survivor Series where Ziggler was the final guy there and he gets the big win with the help from, I think it was Sting. Was that Cena's team against the Authority or something? We kind of wanted to make Ford the star coming out of this. And we've already kind of put him in those positions because he's the one, remember, who's been beaten down. He gets beaten down by the Bullet Club. Edge spears the guy on the go-home edition of Raw. Everyone's just taking their frustration out of Montez Ford. And he gets the ultimate revenge here by pinning the WWE champion in the big 10-man tag on Raw. So a 74. I worked on this match a lot. Like, I was really trying to figure out which way do I go here. I changed this multiple times a while back trying to figure out, how do I want to push this forward? But really, it just made too much sense to go in this route. And I know initially you're going to be like, well, how can these guys lose? But it's not really losing when you think about you had these guys teaming up, but in a sense, they were not really teams. Like, they were just waiting, both of them, to strike at the right time to sort of take everyone, on a different path. And that's what happened here with Edge trying to get his revenge on AJ Styles for what they did from the start when they came back. So, boy, I know I said a lot with this match, but this was one that I was very excited to get to. 74, like I said, I'm actually fine with that. Multi-man tags, it is what it is. But Edge off his game, Ford off his game, I don't think so. These guys were definitely on their game here, even though these are the final two. But, yeah, so there you go. Montez Ford. We'll see what his popularity boost is going to be. I'm very excited because I think that this next month on Raw is going to be wild. I know I've said that a lot, but we got a lot of fun stuff in the works here. So there you go. If you had Montez Ford in your predictions, congratulations. I don't think many did, but he is your sole survivor in this 10-man tag. All right, and then there's no letdown here. Big E and Omos, and yes, everyone celebrate. Raise your hands right now. Celebration mode. A 67. Stunning to get a 67 with Big E getting the win over Omos, following a little payback of their own from the New Day. Not enough selling shown here. That's fine. Whatever. A 67. I will take that. Okay. Big E with an in-ring performance of 80. Fantastic. And he gets Omos to a 67 match here. I can't even, there's no way to describe. I thought this could be in the 40s. So this is great. But, basically what you have here, as you would expect, this is kind of somewhat of a similar situation to our last match, where Kofi and Xavier Woods, MVP's out with Omos. MVP tries to get involved, but it's Kofi and Xavier who take him out. Then we get a little, their own deal here where Omos and MVP have kind of, had some shenanigans and all this stuff and just beating guys down. Well, it's Kofi getting some payback here on Omos, and that allows Big E to get the win. 6:52, I had to keep this short. There was no way I was taking this any longer than that. So, yeah, there you go. Big E gets the win, and more to come with both sides here, but this was kind of just paying off what we've been building over the past month or so, getting this Big E Omos match. So we'll talk more about that and the fallout of it on Raw. There will be some stuff coming out on the Omos side, but we'll get to that on Raw. So there you go, Big E, a triumphant win here over the Giant Omos. All right, and then it is our Hell in a Cell match as Drew McIntyre. I'm disappointed here. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Very disappointed. 78, I thought this could get mid-80s. I really did. I honestly thought this could be the best match on the show. So, a little disappointed that it's not, but clearly we see the lack of psychology on display. What do we have from the last match? I don't remember. We looked back at it. But I'm disappointed at 78. So, it's okay. I'm okay with this, guys. I'm disappointed, though. It's an exceptional match. It should have been higher if it was exceptional. But Drew McIntyre gets the win. Hell in a Cell. 14:51. The Claymore kick does it to get the victory. I mean, we had some really good in-ring performances here. It's 84 from Drew McIntyre. The psychology hurt it, clearly. We did do regular. We did go all out, so that could be something that comes into play here. I don't always do that, but I tried to say. I just wondered, because I think these two, we've done an all out on Bray Wyatt match before. I don't know if I brought it up, and it actually did really well. I don't think Bray's bad rating-wise, but, had we left it at regular and not went all out, could it have worked better? Perhaps. And I think that's something that I would probably think back on, but still, I wouldn't change a whole lot. I think that it's just kind of one of those matches where you get a wide variety of what happens here. So Bray penalized for inconsistency, stamina, the explosive ring style, and the lack of psychology. Look, that played into the role here as well. But it is Drew McIntyre getting the win, so, kind of payback for him as well. A lot of good guys getting their payback here on Survivor Series, aren't they? Good for them. So we'll see how long that lasts. Because after the match, Drew McIntyre gets the win over Bray Wyatt. And let's see what happens after that. So McIntyre wins. The cell comes up, and we see that Bray Wyatt sits up. He's just been beaten down in this brutal Hell in a Cell match. And Bray sits up, and he's smiling again. What is with all the smiling? That's what McIntyre doesn't know what to say. He's confused. He just beat this guy down inside a Hell in a Cell, a brutal match from start to finish. But Bray just sits up, and McIntyre's trying to figure out, what in the hell do I have to do to keep this guy down? And Bray sits up smiling, and then it is Bray Wyatt who simply sits up, he maneuvers his way over, and he is sitting directly in front of Drew McIntyre, who doesn't even know what to do. Like, do I hit the guy? He has no idea what to do here. It's just the strangest scene as Bray Wyatt is just sitting in front of Drew McIntyre, and McIntyre is just looking down at him, wondering, what do I do now? 74, and then, all of a sudden, the lights start to flicker again. Now remember, we've had this several times. We've been playing this out over the past month and a half, 2 months. The lights have just flickered randomly at times. And so the lights start flickering. McIntyre's looking up. Wyatt is just smiling more and more and more, and the smile turns into a full-on laugh. Bray Wyatt is laughing after just getting destroyed inside a Hell in a Cell. McIntyre's eyes are just, he doesn't know what to think right now. The lights are still flickering, and then it goes dark. The lights are off, and when they come back on, Drew McIntyre is down in the middle of the ring, and sitting across from each other are Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black, who are just sitting at each other, smiling at one another. as Drew McIntyre is laid down basically vertically right in the middle of them. And there you have it. The tease for the lights, was it Aleister Black? Well, no matter who it was, here he is. Because we have seemingly, something here is just, what has happened? Aleister Black is here, and he is sitting across from Bray Wyatt. McIntyre's out. What went down? I think you know. But there you go. That's kind of one of the teases we've been putting in. And remember, if you're wondering, when we started the save, it was June. This guy was a free agent in June. He was not with AEW yet. So I scooped him up very quickly, knowing that he was out there after he was available from the contractual issues. And we were just waiting for the right time. But this has been in place from honestly, really from the start of the save. Like, I knew this was where we were going to get to. It was just a matter of when it was going to happen. But there you have it. So the lights flickering, all the teases. Bray Wyatt's been acting like he's been knowing what this means. And it turns out maybe he did, because Aleister Black and Bray Wyatt sitting right across from each other. Think about the visual with Drew McIntyre just laying down in between them. McIntyre is down and out. Wyatt and Black sitting across from each other. The anti-hero gimmick for Black gets a very good rating here. 69, nice segment. This could have been much better if it had been longer, no doubt. Being short, yeah. So, there you go. There's another addition to the roster. And we'll see where it goes from here, because I know this has been going on for a while with McIntyre and Wyatt, but we're still not done. So there's more plot points to come on this full story here with everything that has gone on with Drew McIntyre and Bray Wyatt, and now Aleister Black has arrived and seemingly aligned with Bray Wyatt. So 69 overall there. And then we get to the, I'm just going to be honest with you here. We made this the calm down match, because I had a feeling if we did not put this match before the main event, it could hurt the main event because of all kind of the stuff we've had to this point. We've had a lot happening on this show. So it gets a 58, but it is the team of Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville getting the win over Asuka, Kairi Sane, Liv Morgan, and Toni Storm. And this is one where, boy, I think coming in, you probably would have expected this team to get the victory, but yet again, it is the group where we come down to Shayna Baszler and Sonya Deville, and they are your survivors here. No one has beaten them, basically, in our entire save to this point, and they remain unbeaten. Now, it is worth noting, the reason Asuka gets eliminated from this match is that she locks on the Asuka lock, and she just keeps pulling. So she locks on the Asuka lock on Shayna Baszler, and Asuka she's holding it and holding it and holding it. The referee's trying to get her to stop. It's almost as if Asuka has sort of gone into a trance here, where she just will not release the Asuka lock, and so she gets disqualified. So that's how Asuka gets out of this match. I know we're having to be very creative on how people are getting taken out of some of these matches, but I'm sorry. This is what we have to do, and we're building storylines moving forward. So Asuka kind of snapping here, which we've seen before, but she gets DQ'd here for it. She just wanted to destroy Shayna Baszler, but it turns out that it takes her out of this match. So we'll have some more story stuff coming out of this one, but for now, we'll keep it simple. That's how Asuka's eliminated, and your winners, the final two, Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville, the women's tag team champions. They're not losing right now. So I don't know. Can anyone beat them? We'll find out. Maybe we'll see. Can anyone beat them in the Mae Young Classic? Maybe that's going to be our finals. Deville and Baszler. Who knows? So, yeah. So there you go. 58. We did do the calm down, so that's going to knock some points for holding back. Yeah. So, look at all that. But we had to do it. There was no other choice. So, there you go. All right. Settle in. I know it's been a long episode, but it's time for the one you've been waiting on, the main event, the big show. I'm just kidding. It's not the big show. He's not actually here. But it's the biggest part of the show right here. All right. And backstage, it is The Rock. He's getting ready. And look, if The Rock's getting an 82 here, we know why. Short. Sure, everything's just short. We don't have time. We don't put all these storylines in. The Rock, backstage. He cuts his promo. It's time. It's finally here. The big match on the card. And The Rock says he's been ready for this for a decade. He's been waiting for this moment to finally step back in the ring, one-on-one, Roman Reigns, and he says that all this time, everyone has kind of been looking around, wondering what's going to get The Rock back in the ring, what's going to get him motivated enough to do this. And he said that he's always been driven by the haters. The Rock says from the very beginning, it's the people who have doubted him that he's been driven by. Whether now it's Mick Foley, Steve Austin, John Cena, it doesn't matter. The Rock says he's only using it as motivation. Everything everyone said to him over the past month about he can't go out and beat Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is too good. The Rock says he's the great one. And that when he's about to step outside this curtain, going down to the ring, he's going to become the Universal Champion. He's going to end the reign of Roman Reigns and, all that stuff. So this is kind of The Rock pointing out, hey, I've been using all this doubt as motivation because I need that extra something because I haven't been in the ring for basically, almost a decade at this point. And so I needed that extra motivation, that extra fuel, just beside the family aspect of being, the head of the table, the true head of the table of the family. And so he's been using the fuel from Foley, from Austin, from Cena, everyone. And that's what he's going to use to take him into the ring and do what no one else has been able to do, and that's beat Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. So, The Rock has the stage set. Here we go. The Rock and Roman Reigns. And folks, I hope you're ready for this because this is going to be something. We've been building to this for a while. I've never changed. I will say right before we get to it, I have never changed what I was going to do in this scenario. This was always going to be the direction we were going to go in, and I've never faltered on that. And there's a reason why, and we will explain it in a little bit more detail moving forward. But here we go. The Rock and Roman Reigns. And as the match begins, The Rock comes out, gets a few shots in, and folks, after that, Roman Reigns unleashes hell on The Rock. Roman Reigns, we've never seen Roman Reigns like this before. Think about all the build we've had, the training sessions, all this other stuff. Roman Reigns has been in the gym. He's been working out. Heyman tried to give everyone a fair warning here that this is what they were going to see. Roman Reigns versus Dwayne Johnson, not Roman Reigns versus The Rock in 1998, 2000, 2001. And this is exactly the display that we get in this match, as it is Roman Reigns on another level. He is just beating The Rock to a bloody pulp. I mean, just absolutely destroying The Rock here. And I mean, this isn't even, you can call it a squash match if you want, but this is basically The Rock gets in a few shots early, and then it is Roman Reigns just unleashing all this frustration on The Rock. And he just continues to pummel The Rock. He is pummeling him unmercifully. Rock is bleeding. He's busted open. Reigns does not stop. The more the blood comes out, the angrier Reigns gets. He is just destroying The Rock on every single level. And so, Reigns comes out of this looking excellent, as he should. Heyman is on the outside. Even Heyman has to turn away at times. But again, Heyman tried to warn us. Reigns tried to warn us. Because all this time, Reigns has been preparing for this match. Remember, Reigns stepped away basically the first week of November and started this training where we kept seeing him watching The Rock. Doing what? The Rock was just talking. The Rock was doing what he does best. He was talking. Just running his mouth with Austin, with Foley, with Cena. But what was Roman Reigns doing? He was training harder than ever to build up to this moment to where he completely obliterates The Rock. And so, an 89, so it delivers. Our best match in the series thus far. I thought maybe we hit 90, but I told you guys I did not know what to expect here from the match. I had no idea. I didn't know what The Rock's performance was going to be, but my goodness, in the final showing for The Rock, in the ring of the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, The Rock goes out with a great match, 89, because Roman Reigns goes 10 minutes and 30 seconds of pure destruction of The Rock. and makes him basically go out with a submission, the guillotine choke, and Roman Reigns has ended the career of The Rock. He's ended the wrestling career of The Rock. Hell, he may have ended his entire career at this point. Hollywood, see you later, because The Rock is destroyed. His face is destroyed. I mean, he's just been pummeled. And that's what Roman Reigns said he was going to do. That's what Heyman said Reigns was going to do. They weren't lying. They've been saying this for weeks, that this was not Roman Reigns versus 2000 Rock. This is Roman Reigns versus The Rock now in 2021. And after almost a decade away from the ring, why should The Rock beat Roman Reigns? How could The Rock beat Roman Reigns, who's been at the top of his game for 2 years running now? Was never going to happen. Roman Reigns, defense number 16 of the Universal Championship. We get good chemistry, pretty good chemistry here. Well, too bad. We're never going to have the match again unless, we go into some other planet. 89. I'm thrilled. I mean, this had to be our best match in the series at this point. It had to be. And I know some people were saying, we may get 100 here. I don't know if they ever thought that was going to happen. But I thought getting close to a 90 was not that out of the realm of possibility based on the overness. So I'm in no way am I going to be disappointed by this. It's the best match of the series. It's the biggest match we built in the series. And it is Roman Reigns completely destroying The Rock here to retain the Universal Champion. Can anyone beat Roman Reigns? Before we get there, steal the show. We did hit that, so that was something we tried to get here. So I think that brought out some good here. So Rock gets a bonus for going all out. Reigns still got the Midas touch. I mean, Reigns is just everything with him is gold. Rock gets penalized for inconsistency, stamina, and declining physical ability. But really, I mean, the commentary brings it down. I'm doing everything I can. I've sent these guys off to training to get these guys better, but nothing can keep up commentary-wise with what we got here. Complete destruction from Roman Reigns. Still the champion. Can anyone beat him? After the match, Roman Reigns has defeated The Rock. That's not good enough for him. That's not good enough for the Tribal Chief. He wants The Rock to acknowledge him. The Rock is out. Like, this guy has just passed out from the guillotine choke. He's bloody. There's blood everywhere. Reigns doesn't care. He wants The Rock to acknowledge him. This was what it was all about. It wasn't just about beating The Rock, but The Rock verbally acknowledging that Roman Reigns is the head of the table. So he goes, he's pulling The Rock up. You got a bloody, just think of the visual, the bloody Rock, just kind of head bouncing everywhere. He's out of it. And so Reigns keeps saying, acknowledge me. And he is getting more angry because The Rock cannot acknowledge him because The Rock doesn't know where he is right now. He has no clue. And then, 83 here. All of a sudden, the camera pans out a little bit, and we hear the sound. The crack. Because it is Seth Rollins, who has been gone since No Mercy, since Roman Reigns walked out on him at No Mercy in the tag team match with The Rock and Damian Priest. Seth Rollins slides in with a chair. And where have we seen that before? Seth Rollins with a chair to the back of Roman Reigns, and he just pummels Roman Reigns in the back with the chair. The Rock is down. Now The Rock's out of the ring. Rollins is just going off on Roman Reigns. He is hitting him time and time again with the chair in the back, and he just does not stop. Seth Rollins has snapped. He goes, he's basically doing to Roman Reigns what Roman Reigns just did to The Rock. And that is what Seth Rollins is doing here with this chair. Just continuing to haul off time and time again on Roman Reigns. We're past 15 chair shots. We're up to 25 chair shots. He just is destroying this man. Because maybe that's the only way to beat Roman Reigns. 81, Seth Rollins. We're making the turn now. Great. Turn was a complete success. Hard to think that a babyface turn is just beating someone with a chair. But here we have it. Seth Rollins has officially lost it on Roman Reigns. The crowd is losing it. They sense what is coming here. Rollins has destroyed Roman Reigns with this chair. Reigns is out. But here comes Jimmy Uso. Jimmy comes and hits the ring. But Rollins sensed it. He knew this was coming because as he's beating down Roman Reigns, he's looking side to side. He knows what to expect here. Jimmy hits the ring, and Rollins immediately takes the chair right to the midsection of Jimmy, and now he's hit Jimmy on the back with this chair, and that sends Jimmy down and out quickly. And now it is Seth Rollins who has sat the Money in the Bank briefcase right over on the stairs. He's taken this chair. He's beaten Reigns. And so Rollins looks on the outside as Jimmy is down. Reigns is down. And as Seth Rollins turns around to go over to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase, it is Jey Uso who comes in from behind. He has the Universal Championship, and Jey Uso nails Seth Rollins with the belt, and Rollins is down. Jey quickly pulls Roman Reigns out of the ring, helps up his brother Jimmy, and it is the visual of Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. They are dragging Roman Reigns' pretty much lifeless body up the aisle to get him away from Seth Rollins to avoid the cash-in. Whew. Take a breath. And there is how it ends. Survivor Series. I mean, there's so much here. I know it's the longest episode we've done, but I wanted to make sure we spelled this out in every little detail possible because there's so much at play here. And just when you think that Roman Reigns is finally... He looks invincible after he destroys The Rock. But then Rollins comes in. He's waited all this time. He's waited a month. We haven't seen Seth Rollins in a month. And he's waited for the right moment, knowing that right when Reigns thought he was at the very top, Rollins was going to take it all away from him. And well, he tried. But in the end, the family wins out. Just like Paul Heyman said, it's all about family. And even if Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso were angry at each other, the tension had been building, Heyman was right. Reigns didn't throw him out. He could have sent him out the door. But instead, all he said was, I don't want you at the ring during the match. And Jey Uso is the savior here for Roman Reigns. So think about how the script has flipped a little bit, where Reigns has kind of been seen as the perceived invincible one. Not that Jey Uso's invincible, but it's actually Jey Uso who saves Roman Reigns. What does that mean for the dynamic of Reigns and the Usos moving forward? What does it mean for Seth Rollins, who was that close and may never get a better opportunity to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase on Roman Reigns? And what does it mean for the Tribal Chief, who has said many times before that if Seth Rollins ever tried to cash in on him, like he did, one time where he basically, attacks him and tries to go after him, Reigns said he would hurt Seth Rollins. He said those specific words, I will hurt you. There's a lot of stuff that we got to sort out coming out of Survivor Series. So there you go. 79, not as good as I would have wanted, but I guarantee you, man, it's just short again. I mean, we just had so many segments to add in here. Wow. I mean, I just feel like I need a gallon of water because what an unbelievable storyline show. It's a big storyline show. We got so much coming out of this that we have to sort out. And I hope I did it justice. You guys know I like to be very detailed. And so hopefully a lot of this you saw sort of tied together in recent weeks, months, because a lot of it was. And that is Survivor Series 2021. We get an 84, so not bad. But, I think it's just, really, look, what's green we have here. But all I'm really, and look, we could have ended it at that and certainly would have probably had a better rating, but I needed to add all this other stuff in because obviously we had a bigger story to tell. But an 84, we will absolutely take that. The main event delivered like I wanted it to. Didn't know what to expect. A lot of other matches delivered. Even the Hell in a Cell, I was disappointed. But Gable and Owens, once again, 79, they deliver. Boy, there's so much coming out of this. Montez Ford is a star coming out of the Survivor Series. Big E gets the win over Omos. Aleister Black and Bray Wyatt are a pair, seemingly. Is that going to happen? We'll see. Sasha Banks versus Lita, first round of the Mae Young Classic. There's just so much. Sami Zayn pinned John Cena. I hope you've ordered your buttons. He did it. Woo! All right, guys. 84. There you have it. Survivor Series. Let's make a speech. And we are going to give Sami Zayn just a great performance, pinning John Cena. Look, we've got to give Kevin Owens more love, too. I mean, give Kevin Owens another fantastic praise here for what he's done. And I think, we're giving it to Jey Uso. Jey Uso coming through with some big moments on this. We don't need to praise the Tribal Chief. We praise him all the time. But, I think we're going to give it to Zayn, Owens, and Uso. That's going to be who we're going to give the praise to. All right. Happy, pleased. All right, let's see what we need to get to before we wrap up this mega Survivor Series episode. All right, that was Survivor Series. Jeff Hardy's injury, as expected. He'll work through the pain. A few weeks to heal fully, so we're all good with Jeff on that. Survivor Series, we strike gold. What a show. And, certainly a lot of talking points. I don't know. If you guys could have kept up with all that, congratulations, because even I had a hard time keeping up with everything on that show. Just a stacked show. And we got, talk about some momentum coming out of Survivor Series. We got a ton of it right now based on all the storylines we got in play. Don Callis is gone from AEW. All right, that's fine. Bruce Pritchard's contract is ending. Not Bruce. We got to bring Bruce back. Great road agent. Survivor Series, 3,825,000. Wow, what a show. What a show. Jeff Hardy's injured. All right, we got that. We still got to get Eric's contract renewed. I gotta work on that. So there you go. That's Survivor Series. We'll save all the other stuff for the State of WWE episode that will be the next one here on the channel. Our State of WWE for December. And we'll look more at the financials, the popularity boost. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am so excited to look at some of the popularity boosts we got from like Montez Ford, Damian Priest. Like, he gets another big win. We're building up some stars here. And I want to see what we get popularity-wise on the boost for some of these guys. But that is going to be the next episode, State of WWE for December. As always, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Again, I know it's a long episode, the longest episode we've done thus far, but this has been the biggest show we've done to this point when you consider how many people are on the show, how many storylines we're weaving in and out. So I appreciate you guys. I know it's a lengthy one, but as you know, I usually keep them around 30 minutes. This just happened to be longer because there's just so much more involved with this show. So let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed Survivor Series. And remember, we've got Raw, we got SmackDown, we got another Raw, another SmackDown, and then it's the Mae Young Classic. So we are turning around quick with another big event. And if you thought Survivor Series was big, Mae Young Classic may not be as big in terms of, just the quality and that kind of stuff. But we are going all out with the Mae Young Classic. So do not skip that show. You're going to see more episodes to come before we get there. But telling you right now, the Mae Young Classic, Night 1 and Night 2, are going to be cannot miss. If you miss those shows, you're gonna regret it, because there are some big things coming at the Mae Young Classic. So there you go. All right, hydrate. That's what I'm gonna do after talking for an hour or whatever it's been. And yes, on the next episode, it will be our State of WWE for December 2021.